name is Jordan and welcome back to Jordy is Reading. Today's video is going to be our September wrap-up video. This month, you guys, or not this month anymore, last month, you guys, it was rough. I don't know why it was so rough. Hold on, let me fix my light. Is that better? No, it's probably worse. I don't know why. I do know why. I do know why this month was so rough. So, I started off by reading Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. And this was a fantasy sci-fi-ish kind of book, more fantasy than sci-fi really. It follows a 17-year-old named Karu. I'm reading from my reading log journal that I got. So maybe it'll make some sense. I don't know. Let's read. So it follows Karu, who's a 17-year-old, blue hair. I don't know why that's important, but it mentions that several times in the book, that she has blue hair. Okay. But she's an artist who goes to school in, it was either Prague or Peru. I cannot for the life of me remember. I wrote down Prague, so maybe that's correct. But she was raised by a chimera. If you don't know what a chimera is, I will insert a picture of one here so you can kind of get an understanding of what a chimera is. It's a human animal hybrid, and the guy who specifically raised her is like an alligator goat. He has horns, but he has like alligator eyes. I don't know. He's a chimera, okay? His name is Brimstone. He's pretty much like her dad, and he summons her to do like odd jobs. His odd job is having her collect teeth from people, and she exchanges those teeth for wishes. I think they're called Gavriels and Scuppies or something like that. But she trades those. She'll go to like black markets and collect like ivory from elephants and stuff like that. She has no idea why he is making her collect teeth. She just knows that she collects teeth and he like strings them on almost like necklaces with like other fancy jewels and stuff like that, but she has no idea why. He won't tell her. A lot of mystery. So in order for Karu, which I love the name Karu, I think it's so pretty, but in order for Karu to get to Brimstone, she just has to knock on a door, and this snake hybrid chimera, I cannot for the life of me remember her name, will open the door for her, and there's like this little middle way where they have to stand, close one door, and then like you're going into a chicken coop almost, you know what I mean? Like when you go into the chicken coop, you open the door, there's a little area to stand, and then you open the inside door when the outside door shuts. That's pretty much what it is. Her biggest fear is that one day she's going to knock and no one's going to answer the door for her. So that's like a big thing for her. So that's what she's really afraid of. So she's doing a job one night, or day, whatever, I don't know. She's in like Paris or something. That's another thing. The doorways are like portals. Like she can open one door when she's leaving Brimstone's, and she can end up in Paris or in New York or anywhere pretty much. So one day she's doing a job, and so she meets a seraph, and seraphs are like angels, and apparently they're like the enemies of the chimera. I don't know. But she starts to notice all these black handprints on all of Brimstone's doors, and she isn't sure what is happening, but they're like burnt in, pretty much. She doesn't understand why they're there, what's going on. So, come to find out, the seraph that she saw that day, she actually fought him at one point, His name is Akiva, and he knows a lot more about Karu's past than Karu does. Karu doesn't understand what happened to her parents, why Brimstone is raising her, anything like that. But Akiva knows a lot. And so they kind of team up, I guess, to kind of help her. Well, it's not to help her figure it out, but like Akiva wants her to kind of understand why she is the way she is, and they kind of figure that out together or whatever, and it just kind of goes from there. This is actually a series of books. I did not read the other books in this series. I kind of stopped at this one. Where this book left off, I was not really caring where the next book would kind of lead to or whatever. So I just read the first book. I might read some more of the series later, but as of right now, I don't know, the ending, where she was going, I didn't care to continue anymore. I thought the first book, for me, was enough to kind of figure out Karu's past, and as of right now, I don't want to go any further. The plot for me was about a 3. It was kind of jumping all over the place. The characters were a 3. I didn't love any of them. I really liked Brimstone and his kind of attitude towards everyone. I liked Brimstone and the other Chimera that were kind of in Brimstone's inner circle. But other than that, I didn't care about anyone. The Ease of Reading was a 5. This was a very easy read. It didn't read super, super young adult, but it wasn't complicated like some young adult fantasy books can be. This was really easy to read. Overall, it was a meh. It was a meh face. Not like, oh my god, but not like totally bad either. Just meh. My favorite quote from this book, I think it was from Karu's best friend, Susanna. And she's described as like a pixie, a goth pixie, pretty much. But she says, "How much does your life have to suck to want the apocalypse?" And I thought it was cute and funny at the time. Okay. The next 2 books I read are a series. The first one is called Once Upon a Broken Heart, and the second is called The Ballad of Never After. These are both written by Stephanie Garber. They're a fantasy romance, and if you have ever read her Caraval series, this actually follows one of the fates mentioned in the Caraval series. His name is Jax. But it also, the main girl in this book her name is Evangeline Fox. Evangeline was pretty much raised in her father's curiosity shop. Both her mother and father are now dead. She is in love with someone who is about to marry her stepsister. And she is just devastated. So she goes to the Prince of Hearts, like, chapel or something, to pray to Jax so that he can make it not happen. The thing about Jax is he's called the Prince of Hearts because he only has one true love, and every other girl he kisses that is not his one true love, he immediately kills with his kiss. So that's why he's called the Prince of Hearts. But she goes to ask him to help, pretty much. And he asks for, he's like, okay, that's fine, I'll do it. But I want 3 kisses. And she's like, you kiss me, you kill me. That's not, no. She's like, not for me, dude. Like, I get to choose the people you're going to kiss. And he's pretty much doing this for his own gain. And you'll find out in the book why. But his deal is, I will choose the 3 people you're going to kiss, and I will stop the wedding. So she's like, okay, that's fine. You know, just don't let him marry her. It blows up from there, pretty much. It really blows up from there. Jax is on the hunt for something called the Valerie Arch. And Jax won't tell Evangeline what the Valerie Arch is. He just knows that he needs Evangeline, or she just knows that he needs Evangeline to open the door. She's like a key, pretty much. But yeah, it just blew up from there. I loved the interactions between Jax and Eva. Jax is always calling Eva Little Fox, which I like. There's a side story in the book called The Archer and the Fox, I believe, which ties into the books later. But I just thought it was really cute that he called her Little Fox. So one of the things I wrote down, because I was having a midlife crisis, was, is Jax awful and ruining Eva's life? I don't know. Well, I do now know because I read book 2, but I'm waiting for book 3 to know a lot more. My favorite quote from this book was by Jax, and it's, heroes don't get happy endings. The plot was about a 4. Not super stellar. It's not anything I feel like I haven't read before, but it was really good. I liked it. But I really liked Caraval as well, so I kind of knew I would come in liking this one. Stephanie Garber, it has a way of describing her worlds as very whimsical and very happy-go-lucky, pretty much. So the plot was a 4. The characters were a 4 as well. I really liked them, but I wasn't like in love with them, if that makes sense. But the ease of reading was a 5. It was very, very easy to read. And this gets a happy face. If you're wondering why I keep saying that, there's little happy faces down here at the bottom. So happy face, meh face, or a sad face. Okay, so I read The Ballad of Never After, which is the 2nd book in the series. And I'm so glad because Stephanie Garber finally announced that there is going to be a 3rd book in this series. It's coming out in 2023. But I read The Ballad of Never After, which is book 2. It picks up immediately where it's actually might be a week or 2 later after where Once Upon a Broken Heart leaves off. Jax is still trying to get Eva to open up the Valerie Arch. Eva's like, no, I'm not helping you anymore because of all the crap you've done to me. The Ballad of Never After was not as whimsical as Once Upon a Broken Heart, which makes sense because now you're understanding or starting to understand what is going on, and you're starting to pick a side pretty much. So it's not as whimsical, but the world building is still there, but you can tell this is starting to take a more serious kind of turn. So it's not as whimsical as Once Upon a Broken Heart. All of the characters are pretty much still there. I don't believe anyone has died yet from Once Upon a Broken Heart. So all of the characters are still there. We're still following everyone. Jax, Eva, Lala, Apollo. I'm not sure who else, but I can't tell you anymore because it's a huge spoiler. If you have to read this book, like this series. I love it. I love it so much. This was before Stephanie announced the 3rd book in the series, but I wrote, this better be a trilogy or I swear I'm never reading Stephanie Garber again. The ending killed me. The ending killed me. The ending, you guys. I did not see that coming. I literally sat there just like this, staring for like 10 minutes straight. Like, what do I do with my life now? What do I do? I don't understand. I don't know. But my favorite quote from this book was, "Ballads never end happily. Everyone knows that," said Jax. And then Eva and Jax. "It hurts, Jax. I know, love. I'm going to take you somewhere safe." That was the first time that Jax called Eva love. And it was so cute. I mean, it was a horrible situation, but it was so cute. It was so cute. It was so cute. The plot is still about a 4. I really liked it, though. Just because I'm rating it a 4, it's a, you know, from a scale of 1 to 5, it was a 4. I really, really liked it. The characters, 5. I fell in love with every single character in this book. Ease of reading, still a 5. Super easy to read, super fun to read. Read it really quickly. In a day. I read both of these books in a day. Well, one book per each day. And overall, smiley face. Smiley face. I love these books, you guys. If you like fantasy romance, then I would suggest reading these books. If you've read the Caraval series, I would suggest reading these books. I would suggest reading Caraval first, only so you can get kind of a history of what the fates are, which is what Jax is. He's a fate. It explains what the fates are and why the fates are the way they are, pretty much. But I love the Caraval series. I love the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I cannot wait for the next book to be released. The next book I read put me in a reading slump. This was the last book I read for September. So that means I only read 4 books in the month of September, because this book put me in a reading slump. And it has nothing to do with me being tired of reading fantasy. It has everything to do with this book. The writing of this book, the plot of this book, the characters in this book, everything. I read A Court of Silver Flames. This book is written by Sarah J. Maas. It is a part of A Court of Thorns and Roses series. This book would have been a lot shorter if everyone had gone to therapy. This follows Nesta and Cassian. It's splitting the point of view between Nesta and Cassian. I don't know how to explain this book to you. Spoiler warning, Farrah ends up pregnant in this book, which doesn't make sense plot-wise. Nothing in this book makes sense plot-wise. So Nesta has been on this binge of drinking and crazy stuff and using Farrah and Reese's money, and they're finally like, no, we're going to cut you off. You can either go train at the House of Wind, or you can just whatever, because I'm not going to deal with it anymore. So Nesta's, Nesta, and complains and argues and everything the whole way, but she finally decides to go train. She makes some friends along the way. They end up doing some really cool. The only part that I liked in the book at all was Gwen, who is a priestess who works in the library, if you remember where Briaxis was. So she's been kind of traumatized by stuff. And then there's also Emery, who is an Illyrian who had her wings clipped, because all of the women get their wings clipped or whatever. And then Nesta, of course. They become BFFs pretty much, and they decide to work together to reach a goal. That's literally all I can tell you about this book. This book sucked. It sucked so bad. It took me literally forever to read it. I started reading on September 14th. I did not get done until the 27th of September. It sucked. I don't know why. I don't feel like this book was necessary. I don't feel like this book was necessary. None of the plot made sense. Just send them to therapy and then move on with the storyline. Where is this going? Nothing in this book was necessary. Nothing. So, I didn't even write down. This is literally, well, you can't see it, but there you go. You can see a little bit of it. I didn't write down a favorite quote. I didn't write down anything. No. Done. Thank you. Moving on. This month I have started reading a few books. I have already finished reading These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan, I believe is the name of it. Loved it. Going to continue that series. I also started reading Carve the Mark, which is by Veronica Roth. Veronica Roth? Veronica Roth? Yes. If you don't know, Veronica Roth wrote the Divergent series. I really enjoyed the Divergent series, and I'm really starting to like Carve the Mark as well. I also have on my shelf to read where is it? Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Moniscalco. I've heard mixed signals. I've heard mixed reviews about this series, which is the Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Curse, and Kingdom of the Feared, I believe is the order that they're in. But I thought, why not? We'll try it. Also, a lot of things going on here. I bought the other day A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Lynn. I've heard really good things about this book, so I wanted to try it out as well. But I also saw on Netflix The School for Good and Evil. So I saw the previews or whatever for that. So I thought before I watch it, I want to read it. So I went and got the first book for The School for Good and Evil. And it looks like there's 6 of these books, I believe. So I'm going to put that one on my TBR list as well. I also got in my Book of the Month book for October. I picked 2 books because these looked really, really cute. Well, one looked really cute. The other was like a thriller. This is The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. And this is the thriller mystery, I believe. But I love the Book of the Month dust jackets. Like, they're so simple and so plain. I love that. Minimalistic vibes here. But I also got Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott. And it just sounded cute. It sounded very Howl's Moving Castle-ish. So I decided to get that as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to show you. I don't think there's anything else I need to show you, but all of these books on this side are Book of the Month that I have not read. I haven't read any of them. And then add these 2 to the list. So I believe either this month or next month I will do Ow! I will do strictly Book of the Month books. And we'll see how that goes. I don't think I have any more updates for you guys. The next video is a mystery box unboxing, I believe. Y'all, tell me to stop spending my money on that crap. But other than that, yeah. If you liked to hear me ramble about my midlife crisis, please give this video a thumbs up. While you're down there, be sure to subscribe. It really helps me out a lot, and I appreciate every single one of you guys that are here with me watching this video. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I will see you in the next video.